Hello, and welcome back to Cabincast with Oliver and Chris.
Hello.
We are here without Craig again. He's having a weird few weeks at the moment. He keeps leaving us, which is very sad. But we're here to talk about more Demon Souls.
Yay.
Yeah. And we're very happy to talk about this one because
Our favourite area of the game. Yay. Everyone's favourite area of the game.
I'm not sure if this is part 4 no, it's not part 4, it's part 5.
Mm.
Or part 6 of our Demon Souls talk through thing. And we already discovered that there was something we didn't know. It's the Depraved Chasm. Valley of Defilement is only the first part of it.
Yeah. We're probably
But
going to keep on calling it the Valley of Defilement
Mhm.
regardless, but
pretty much. Yeah, also known as 5-1, and then 5-2.
what's there to
Well, I
say,
guess I
really?
was going to say, I guess it's 6-1 and 6-2, really, isn't it? Because
Yeah, because
Giants one is
4 is missing.
4 is missing, so 5-1's really the next, and so this would be 6. But because there is no
Because there
6,
is
that's
no
why it's
giants.
5.
No frigid outskirts.
There is no
Not
frigid
frigid
waste.
outskirts, that's Dark Souls 2.
Frigid wastes. There's no cold place.
Yeah.
Um,
Northern wastes.
Northern wastes. Yeah. Alas, but yes. So
I
yeah.
have PTSD to the frigid outskirts now. Oh no. Ah.
Yep. Uh, um. Yeah. Valley of Defilement is a location in Demon Souls, and the Demon Souls remake, obviously. Uh. Uh. Oh no, no, okay, no, we may have misunderstood. So you can find the Depraved Chasm, the Swamp of Sorrow, and the Rotting Haven in the Valley of Defilement. The Depraved Chasm is the first part.
But why is the... Are you sure?
Yes.
Swamp of
Oh,
Sorrow.
oh,
The
oh!
Valley of Defilement.
It's because in Demon Souls, the original, they didn't use like the sub names.
Yeah.
It was all just Valley of Defilement
Okay.
and 5-1, so that's why.
The way
Or
they
it's
named it
not.
on the wiki is confusing.
It is.
No, they do mention it's also in the Valley of Defilement, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But forget everything we just said.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah. Um. So yeah, this place is not fun. Um.
I mean, the first part is not too bad.
The first part's all right. It's
By
true.
one, it can be okay as long as you know what you're doing and don't run into their tricks.
Mm-hmm. Because the people here are tricky.
Yeah,
Um. Indeed.
they're very depraved ones in the depraved chasm.
They are, exactly. So yeah, you show up and there's a bunch of wood everywhere.
That's basically just a giant scaffolding
Yeah,
stuck
it's
in the side of this valley.
similar to Blighttown, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Um, wonder if that's intentional or not.
I mean, there's
um,
other similarities as well, you know?
yes,
You've got the things that you might not notice at first that if they hit you, give you the really bad version of poison.
yes,
Um, you've got big people.
yes. You've got a poison swamp.
Poison swamp at the end, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is definitely
Yeah.
inspiration for Blighttown. But yeah, you in this time in this one you start at the top of the wooden platforms, um, and go down, but it's more enclosed than Blighttown is. Like you can see a whole lot of the swamp below Blighttown.
I mean, Blight Town's completely open on one side because it's
Yeah,
just the side of a
side of
wall,
a
whereas
wall.
this is
This is
a valley.
a
It's a
chasm.
chasm. So you've got things on
Um,
both sides.
indeed.
It's just long and thin.
Mm-hmm. And there is the ability to fall down the middle, um, which is kind of the main risk for now. But yeah, depraved ones also, which have fiery poles and things.
Yeah. They're not too bad, the normal depraved ones, as long as you
No.
don't get overwhelmed, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're okay. They do, like we said, try to ambush you and set up traps. Uh, they'll like drop down from places and try and ambush you when you pick up items and things like that. But as long as you're wary of what's going on around you, you'll probably be okay.
Mm.
But there are big depraved ones, or
They're
giant
big
depraved
depraved
ones.
ones, which are probably one of the hardest common enemies
Yeah, both
you'd
hardest and
find.
just creepy.
Yeah. What is it? They're creepy looking. They hit like a train.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the small area you're in as well, it's
Not
very
very
hard to
fun
avoid them and dodge them.
to navigate. Yeah.
That's just it's the run through killer in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of gotten more used to killing them by this point, but my first like time through they were very intimidating. And I did not like them. So yeah. So you got those guys, you got them. Um they've got some like improvised bridges that you've got to knock down to progress or create shortcuts back. There's one that I've still never done. I see it every time, and I've still not figured out how to get to it.
Um, that might be the pure white tendency one.
That might be it. Yeah, that it says there's a ladder in Pure White Tendency
Eventually, the
up
path
an
leads
invisible
to.
wall. So maybe
I
it's
don't know.
that.
Because there was always a big, very shiny thing at the end of it, wasn't there?
Yeah,
So I'd always think about, oh, how do I get there? But I never figured it out, so I assumed it was a white tendency thing.
yeah, that is fair. Um, but yeah, that's what you get for the White White Tendency while we're here. It allows you to get the well, like four giant depraved ones total guarding the Isterel spear. Uh,
Yeah. That's something I probably should have grabbed and used, I think, during
hmm,
my paladin-ish walkthrough.
yeah.
Although I guess the
So
maiden hammer did work with the maiden armor as well.
this is true. Um,
Yeah.
increases your poison and plague resistance,
Oh, I really should have gotten that then.
and you don't need to meet the strength or dex requirements to get full magic damage if you have 24 faith. Since physical damage of the weapon is low, it's not a bad option if you want to use it at lower levels.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
pretty interesting spear.
This is one that's upgraded with the colourless demon cells instead of the regular shards and everything. That would have
Hmm.
saved me the pain that I had in the next part of the level, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yes. Um. On the black side of it, the black royal tendency. There's a black phantom flame pole wielding depraved one just before the first fog gate, and a black phantom knife wielding play one is one the last suspension bridge before the boss area. So they're just annoying, basically, um, and a bit of a hassle.
Mm.
You will find a bunch of widows, lotuses, and grasses down here because poison and blight, I think it is.
Mm.
Um, So they do give you some healing and resistance and stuff, but yeah, you're gonna need it. So
Yeah.
you can also find a bunch of things pertaining to clerics down here, like the Talisman of God, um, and I think the old lady sells a bunch of cleric stuff
Yes,
as
she
well.
does. Oh, what did she say? I think she sold the temple armor
Yeah,
in her, not in the original location that she is, not in the Depraved Chasm, but she does
yeah.
eventually. She also
hmm
sells the Plague Lotus,
Yes.
the Widow's Lotus,
Yeah, that
which is
one.
incredibly expensive, and she's placed just above the rats that give you
Yes,
plague.
indeed. Plague, and they are very mean. There's also Blessed Mace +1 you can find a bit further on. So yeah, lots of cleric stuff. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, the Filthy Woman. She's the only merchant that sells black pine resin and rotten arrows. She also sells Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. Only available to you in soul form, and the price is dependent on your soul level. And then, yeah,
Needs to get what's it called? She needs to get souls so she can buy food for her child or something. She keeps saying.
yeah,
Not
indeed.
sure I believe that.
No, it's hard to be like, are you telling the truth or not? Hard to say. And yeah, near her is also the saints' robes as well.
Mm.
So yeah, lots of stuff down here pertaining to the church. Then there's more rats. Uh, and there's also giant ticks.
Oh, the ticks as well are such a pain.
The ticks are not fun. Um, yeah, there's a whole lot of not fun stuff basically in this place. And the whole time there's all this like all these beams that you've got to cross, and as long as you're careful, you'll be fine. It's not quite as bad as Blighttown.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, if you're not paying attention, you can get knocked off, especially by the giant depraved
Yeah,
ones, or even the
I think
old
that's the
depraved
main
ones if you're
risk
not
is
paying
being
attention.
being knocked off by them rather than
Yeah.
misstepping yourself.
Mm-hmm. So if you're, tactical enough, you can use that to your advantage to get them to run themselves off as well. But
Yeah, which you might want to do
yeah,
just
it
for an
might
extra
actually be helpful.
added bonus you get from them falling off,
Indeed.
which is if I can't remember the numbers exactly,
No, me neither.
but in the next boss fight, after you have defeated the boss, depending on how many corpses you knocked off in the previous area,
Yeah.
um, there will be a number of items just spread around on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to be alive when they're knocked off. You can just eat their corpses, their ragdolls down there,
Yeah.
which is something if you're a true Souls player, you just want to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a nice little reward for that.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. There's an illusory wall video
Hmm.
on that if you want to check it out, go into more detail with it. And yeah, speaking of the next boss, Leechmonger.
Each one go.
What?
Gotta say, this area in general probably got my least, maybe not least favorite because I dislike them, but just like least in I don't know, they're just boring bosses. I feel.
Yes, what I would say is I really like them aesthetically,
Hmm. But the actual
actually.
boss
But
mechanics,
the boss mechanics,
especially since this game has some really interesting
yeah, these ones are.
bosses.
I mean, Leechmonger's got a little bit going for it.
Yeah,
Uh, Dirty Colossus,
not
not,
really.
not really, but it looks cool. Yeah, no. So Leechmonger, it's leeches. It's
It's a
terrible.
pile of leeches.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walk through the fog gate and you see this
Hmm.
sort of writhing mass at the bottom of
Yeah.
this pit,
Hmm.
and yeah, you have to kill it whilst it's lobbing leeches at you, and you can either just sort of walk around the scaffold and slowly make your way down to it and start hitting it, or you can find a good spot on the scaffold where it can't hit you and just cheese it.
Yep. Fire from range. It does have a ranged attack, but
It does have a
it's
ranged
easy enough
attack,
to
but
avoid.
there are spots that you can completely avoid them from. There are cheese
Yeah.
spots.
Indeed. Yeah, he's got a couple of like sweep attacks. He's got a berserker attack, which is just kind of where he does even more. He can throw the leech balls, um, which are 6 large balls of leeches that go in different directions, and they'll slow you, and you'll suffer some damage over time because you get leeches on you. Uh, and the masses of leeches churn as the leech monger draws them back in, forming a bright coloured blob around its midsection, which will heal about 20% of its HP over time. But you can destroy the blob to stop the regeneration, which is something I didn't know. But that's also because Leechmonger's very weak to fire, and is pretty much weak to everything else as well.
Yeah.
So if you've got a lot of health and a lot of stamina, you can just charge in next to him and roll and tank the damage because he doesn't hit that hard. Um, yeah. So if you can like cast protection and have the regenerator's ring, you can just swing at him
You're
and
fine.
yeah, you're fine. Um, the first time he does his heal, it's a bit like what? No, no. But yeah, he has so little health. Also, probably the fact that everyone dislike, or most people dislike this place, and it's the last place. You're always going to be pretty high level by the time you get to him. I imagine at a low level he's probably a bit more challenging, but
But I
people
always
generally
leave
go
this
to him
area for
first.
last, both
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
the last area and because I don't really enjoy it that much.
Indeed, exactly. So yeah, if you've got
Except for
turpentine,
my
or
last
some
run
other
that we did
stuff.
together.
True, true, true.
I did that earlier.
Or dragon weapon. All those things will also be very helpful. And yeah,
Yeah.
firestorm, fire spray, Solway also all do good things. Um, and yeah, Leechmonger never moves either.
I mean, he rotates certainly.
He rotates, but he cannot.
Cannot move
Yeah, he
horizontally.
is a
No
predatory mass of
translation to him.
blood-sucking leeches brought together in a writhing sentient blob by the power of a demon soul. He hides in wait, submerged in a pool of scum until the player enters in its midst, at which point it will burst from the foul depths and begin its attack. The leechmonger never moves from the pit of muck it dwells in, and instead lashes out with its two quote-unquote arms to hurl chunks of leeches at its victims. Yeah, no. Aesthetically, um, this one is kind of cool. I think Dirty Colossus is more cool, but in terms of, it's throwing the leeches, which can then get on you and do damage and, recalling them to heal itself, like that mechanic's pretty useful. It just needs a little bit more to
Yeah.
kind of push it over the edge of being actually a better boss. Like maybe if I don't know, maybe if it had like multiple pools that it could rise up from or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just something to
I
keep you a
think
bit more on your toes.
I think the journey down's half the. If it was more
That's a good
aggressive on
point.
the journey down,
Mm,
maybe.
yeah, maybe. But again, one of the first kind of sets of bosses that they've done. So
Hmm.
I also don't particularly remember the music for this one or the next one.
I have no memory of the music
No, me
for
neither.
any of this area.
No, I do for the final boss fight,
Mm.
but that's more just because it's sadness. Which is a bit different. So anyway, next up, after you've defeated him, you have the Swamp of Sorrow.
Yeah, now this is the fun bit.
Yes.
Woo! Swamp of Sorrow that's absolutely filled with all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
you never find it because it's dark and you're constantly getting poisoned and it's filled with nasty things.
yeah. There's slimes again, or oozes, or whatever.
Hmm. I don't know what
Um,
those are. Actually, what does it say those are?
it's a good question. Oh,
Poison jellies.
poison jellies. Okay, or jellies then.
I'll
Fine.
say because they're not quite slimes because they've got like texture to them.
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah. So
those are
jellies.
weird.
They are weird. Um, this is an aside, but I saw yesterday a D&D monster, which is an ooze black, which is a
Ooze black.
non-Newtonian slime.
Oh no.
So you have to get under a 13 to hit it, and the more damage you do, the less damage you do.
Jesus.
I was like, this sounds like a really fun way to screw with your players.
I
Um,
imagine it's quite weak to magic though.
yes, indeed, but they don't know that. But no, it's just a fun idea I heard. Anyway, back to
Hmm.
Demon's Souls. Um, yeah, so we'll do the black and white world tendencies later, but yeah, also known as 5-2, obviously. Um, more planks, and you kind of just go through this cave, and then it opens out into this just yeah huge poison swamp,
Yeah.
not to be mistaken for the like 6 other poison swamps in the Soulsborne series. Um, because they are many. Uh,
Hmm. This is, oh, that's not even the original, is it? I was going to say it's the original, but there's probably one in Kingsfield,
I imagine there's one in Kingsfield, but
or Kingsfield 2, or Kingsfield 3, or Kingsfield 4.
mm-hmm.
Question
Let's have a
is,
look.
Kingsfield Cabincast when?
Well, yeah, I've been wondering, like, can we do a Kingsfield? Get like, I don't know where we can get Kingsfield, if you can get Kingsfield and stuff. So
We'd
it does
have to
look like there's a
totally
poison
legally
swamp.
purchase it and not at all get an emulator to do it.
Well, exactly, So anyway, we won't discuss that later. Swamp of Sorrow. Yeah, another poison swamp, and it's got these kind of like aisles in it. These small bundles of like dirt and wood and stuff that you can stand on to not get poisoned.
I would call it like almost like a ford, except for this water's not flowing at all.
Yeah,
But it would be like a fording area if it were a
yeah,
river.
indeed. Yeah, poison jellies. There's a lot of these things. They are like the slimes or jellies in all the Souls games, pretty resistant to physical damage. Uh, but fire and magic and stuff is always a good way to go to deal with them. Um, there's a bunch of stuff down here if you can be bothered to travel to it, uh,
Mm.
including the Regenerator's Ring, which is very useful.
That is
Um,
quite a good one. Yeah, I
yeah.
think I did find that eventually for my Paladin Temple Guild,
Mm,
whatever you want to call it, run.
yeah. There's also some good souls, storied hero, legendary warrior. Um, and the poison jellies for as annoying as they are. Also, if you want to fight them close, you've got to get in the water a lot of the time. Bleed is also useful against them. Um, but they do drop Soldier's Lotus, Royal Lotus, and Widow's Lotus, which is all uh good for
Widow's
this
Lotus is
area.
very good for the area.
Yeah, so they are there's a lot of them, and if you're careful and you don't get overwhelmed, you'll be fine. So they're actually quite decent to farm. They don't give you very many souls, I don't think, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I
um,
ooh, I did not know this.
what's that?
There's a black phantom in the
There
swamp.
is. Have you not fought them?
I don't think I have. Don't
Ah,
remember ever fighting them.
I fought them multiple times. Yes, the meat cleaver Black Phantom, who is again not at all referenced in Dark Souls with Manny to Mildred. They're completely
Yeah,
different ideas. Um, and they
meat
are not
cleaver in
related
a
in the slightest.
poison swamp. completely unique.
Indeed. But yeah, there's a meat cleaver Black Phantom who patrols the swamp.
I wish
However,
I'd have known
unlike
she was there. She drops
yeah,
3 faint stone chunks.
unlike Mildred, I don't believe she gets poisoned at any point. She just kind of perpetually exists in the swamp.
Mm.
Um, so you can fight her. Uh, she's she's a Black Phantom, and we fought in the remake, so the NPC is the NPC AI is pretty decent. Um, but yeah, just gotta be careful and bait them into doing their heavy attacks, and then you can go in and get hits and so on and so forth.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah, so there's an awfully large area here, and it's kind of hard to find the critical path. Um, but you will eventually. Get this up kind of more boardwalks, and then you'll find some of the first giant mosquitoes. Um,
Yeah.
which once again, another tool reference in Dark Souls. They're a completely different idea. Um,
Unico so you
uh,
don't steal.
yeah. But yeah, the ones here are easier to hit. They're not as glitchy, so that's something.
Mm.
Um,
Or at least in the remake.
yeah, at least in the remake, to be fair, true, all of the stuff that we're going through is the remake. So yeah, but yeah, at least in the remake, they are like this, and you come to the first kind of miniature fog door. It's not miniature, but
Not
it's
boss
not the
door.
boss fog door. That's yeah. Um, before you get through, there's also some phosphorescent slugs. Um, you find some sucker stone chunks as well, and sucker stone shards around here, which are the poison ones, I think, or the bleed ones. I think there's also some giant depraved ones here, which
There
don't
is. The
necessarily.
last island, just before that first bit of scaffolding that gets you to the fog gate.
Mm-hmm.
In the darkness. There's some two, I think, giant depraved ones. One
Two
on
of
an
them, and
island and
like a
one just on the
depraved
scaffolding,
shaman.
and they're just the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, bloodletting effect. Yeah, they are very rude. They are
They're very
mean,
deadly
and
because
if you go in the water stuff, then you kind of slower, so it's very tricky.
yeah,
And yeah,
you
depraved one
only
shaman makes like poison swamp mist, I think, or something.
quite possibly
But by themselves, they're fine. So
cool.
yeah. Then once you go through the fog gate, the first thing you'll fight if you are in pure white tendency, who I've never seen, is Seelan Vinland.
Yeah,
Who, if you
Carl
talk to,
Finland's sister.
will ask about her younger brother Garl Vinland. Um, if you're in pure black, she'll appear as a black phantom and attack you. Uh, yeah.
That's a
I've
cool
never seen
sword she
her,
drops.
but she drops what looks like a really cool sword, actually. Yeah. Called Blind,
Yeah,
which ignores shields, does normal damage to players even when they have their shields up. It's the lightest weapon in the game.
yeah.
Well,
Fun.
there we go. And you can parry it in your hand. Parry with it in
Yeah,
your hand.
very
That's
cool.
pretty neat. Still new things about this. Seems like it's got a uh, yeah, it's got bleed as well,
Mm.
and pretty decent critical strike. Uh, okay, cool. Um, so yeah, yeah, I've
Cool.
I've never seen Sealand, Finland.
Yeah. You
Um,
after you if you happen to encounter her brother
mhm,
and get the crest of Vinland from him, you
mhm,
can give it to her to gain the ring of devout prayer.
mhm,
Or you can murder her to get the ring anyway and also get her armor
mhm,
if you're that kind of person.
mhm. What is her? She's got the dull gold armor set,
All gold. It looks
which
pretty
is
cool.
another one that I've not seen. Still learning new
Is
things about
it?
this game.
Is it?
Um,
Ah, it's female only.
it is a female only one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. You keep on going, you'll find a body containing the thief ring, which is useful in a previous area.
I
Um,
mean, you probably would have gotten it from a previous area anyway.
but I think you can get it there too. Yeah.
You can get it from
The guy,
Ostrava, can't you?
Strava, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
where you first meet Ostrava.
Yeah, you're right. And then there's more giant mosquitoes. There's more depraved ones. More depraved ones. There's kind of like a little camp here almost.
Hmm.
Um,
It's more of a proper settlement rather than random scaffolding sticking out of the wall
yeah,
or just
exactly.
swamp. It's
Yeah,
like a swamp village. It's all on stilts and
indeed.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, you gotta fight all those guys. And if you keep going, you'll find the woman again who you met earlier.
Hmm.
She'll sell you more stuff. It's all still pretty expensive. Um, yeah, she still seems mysterious. Uh,
Yeah.
but I don't believe there is anything to her. Um, yeah, beyond just her being a vendor. But it feels like they could be. Um, but yes, you can trade with her. You can find more depraved ones in more buildings. Um, this is another area where it starts to go up again, and it's quite easy to fall off. The fall won't kill you, but it's just a bit annoying because you'll drop into the swamp, and then you have to run around and find the way back
Yeah.
up again.
Although there are some quite good souls down in the
Yeah.
swamp.
There are like legendary warrior souls. There's some crystal lizards. Um, the murden hammers down here, and the shaman
Yeah.
stuff or shaman stuff.
There's also a Shotel somewhere around here.
Mm. So yeah, and also more phosphorescent slugs. Which again, kind of like the leeches. And yeah, I'm gonna stop making that joke now. Yeah.
There's not much else to say about this area, really. It's just a big chunk of scaffolding filled with enemies and loot.
Well, I mean, if you go all the way to where the phosphorescent slugs fell, you've got ability to fight them, obviously. But you will see a sword between them, which you can
Ah,
loot to obtain the large sword of Moonlight.
that's where it was.
Yeah. Which will later be known, within the Soulsborne series at least, as the Moonlight Greatsword.
Widely known in association with Moonlight Knight Beto.
Moonlight Knight Beto.
Ooh, who's
So again,
Moonlight?
Moonlight Greatsword is, or the Large Sword of Moonlight, whatever it's called, is a relic from Kingsfield. I believe that they put forward into every game. We've not yet played Kingsfield, so we don't know how, far this thing goes back. And if we do play Kingsfield, it will be an interesting, thing to see.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, this is one of the references, much like the poison swamp in which it resides, that is in every game. Um, Hyped up to a ridiculous extent in Bloodborne, but it is awesome, so I don't care. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, that's where it is. I do also like how with like certain swords and things, they're not just the glowing white thing in this. You actually do it. The sword is there.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if it was like that in the original, or if that's just the thing that they updated it to be, but that's pretty cool.
That can be a massive pain though,
Yes, it's also
because
true.
unlike most items in the remake, at least, where you can just send them straight to
Yes, you've actually
straight to
got a
Thomas, you've actually got to pick them up. So if you don't have space in your inventory to pick it up, you just can't.
yeah, which is
Mm.
a problem.
Just as an extra thing, the
Mhm.
Moonlight Knight obviously went to the Valley of Defilement,
Mhm.
possibly accompanying Estrella, possibly just after the Deep Fog.
Mhm.
Um, but then he fell um, into the swamp The corpse with the legendary hero soul is thought to be his.
Makes
There's
sense.
also apparently a giant slug nearby that swallowed a set of dull gold armor.
Yeah, indeed.
Yay!
So yeah, I mean the sword's here, so it doesn't bode well to begin with. Also the large sword of the sword of moonlight can be traded with sparkly together ring of devout prayer. Um,
Mm.
and it's one of the only it's the other sword that cannot be blocked by shields.
Yeah.
That's classed as a large sword. Not a great sword, but a large sword. And it reduces it has 80% magic block,
Mm.
which is
Oh,
pretty
it's S tier faith scaling.
S tier faith scaling. Yeah, it's is it always faith? Or is it intelligence later? I feel like it's an
I've no idea.
intelligence one. Yeah, it's intelligence in the later games.
Mm.
Because it's like a sorcery sword.
Guess it just
Um,
depends on the context that it's there for.
yeah, or arcane
I
in
mean, yeah, I can understand it
Moonlight.
being intelligence when you get it from Seath's Tale.
Indeed, that would make a lot more sense. And also, when you look at it, the faith and the intelligence of the magical comes from the same place in Demon Souls anyway. So,
Mm.
yeah, but no, that's where that's from. Um, and then after you've done that, you'll find another fog gate and the
That'll lead you
boss,
to Nicolas Cage himself.
the Dirty Colossus. A deformed creature that arose from the compounded filth that accumulated in the Valley of Defilement. It has a golem-like figure with a spiky red carapace, except it's hard to often see the red because it's covered in brown slime and wooden planks. Um, and it's got a sensitive abdomen which is protected by a shabby wooden barrel, and a cloud of flies is constantly buzzing around its head. It's a really cool design. But yeah, again, it's just like a pretty standard get behind them and swing boss. Not able to do much more than that, unfortunately. Uh,
It's what it
he has
is.
he has some slams that he does with his hands. He can surround the area in a cloud of flies. If you get covered in flies, they eat away at you for a long time and do a fairly large amount of damage. Um, However, like a thing that they bring back in Dark Souls 3, there are several torches in the boss area which, when touched, will burn all the flies off of you.
Yeah,
And if you do it quickly enough, the fire damage to you can be avoided.
didn't know that one.
I did not know that either, but that's pretty cool. Again, like he doesn't have enough health for the time that at least I usually get to him to warrant needing to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but cool again to know. Um, he also shoots some flies, which you can dodge. He leans back and performs a horizontal motion attack, and he has a 3-hit combo, which you cannot block. It's pretty heavy duty. Um, yeah, like
I
we said,
imagine all the bosses in this area, you can't really block them.
true. But yeah, he's really easy to kill with melee. Turpentine or black turpentine or dragon weapon are highly recommended because he's weak to fire damage, but he's also weak to magic even more so than fire. And you can also break his armor. And if you break his armor, then he takes even more damage, which yeah means he's not going to last very long. So you might kill him before he even breaks his armor, or you might not notice. Um, Light weapons and cursed weapons are also good. Um, and yeah, just avoid him when he does his charge up attack, like thing enemies always do when they do their charge up attacks.
Yeah.
You can also use magic, fire spray and firestorm and stuff again, or soul ray. And bows, viable as well. Lava bow will be good. Apparently that takes about 50 heavy arrows to take him down, so, a bit more challenging, but most of his attacks are melee, so
Mm.
yeah. He looks cool. He has some good sound design as well. Um, but yeah, very very simple boss really. Um, and now one thing we didn't talk about was the souls that they give you.
Mm.
So this guy gives you the Eroded Demon Soul, which can be used to make Acid Cloud from Sage
Sage
Fake,
Drake.
or consumed for 40,000 souls.
Hey.
And I think the Leechmonger's one, he gives you the Writhing Demon Soul. I think that's Poison Cloud. Uh,
Quite possibly. That
yeah,
does sound
Poison
about right.
Cloud from Sage Fake, or the Cure Miracle from Saint Urbain.
Yeah.
So there you go. So there's acid, equipment damage, and poison is, well, poison. Uh, I don't remember. Let's find out. Yeah, degrades durability of armor and weapons.
Yay.
Which also works on enemies, even though I've never tried it. I've always been interested to see what it actually does against enemies, because you never really think about them having
That
weapons that
is,
are
yeah.
broken.
No, that's a good point.
Which is something I should probably test at some point if I ever think to
I
do it, because again, it's not an area I enjoy that much. So,
I just know that if you're the worst kind of person,
hmm
you'd get the spear or whatever that does that damage, and then be summoned as the old monk
ugh, yeah,
and just constantly break people's equipment.
yeah. I do acid cloud right by the fog gate.
Yeah.
Don't take that idea.
If you're the
There's no
worst kind
budget.
of person, you'd do that.
Yeah. There's also some coins in here, ceramic coins.
Those are fun.
Fractured modes
I've
as
never
well,
gotten any of those.
but I've never got any of them either. Um, Again, maybe someday, but not this day. Um, so yeah, we've gone over Selin Vinland. Blackwell tendency, like we said, Selin Vinland also shows up. There's also 4 Black Phantom Giant Depraved ones that show up, so that sucks. Um, there's a Primeval Demon here, um, which is one of the places that's likely to drop Colorless Demon Soul when killed.
Mm.
On the boardwalk that leads to a dead end beside the second fog gate, and also there's more ceramic coins, but nothing else in particular. Which leads us to the final area of the game, the Rotting Haven, not of the game, but of the Valley of
The
Defilement.
Valley of Defilement. There's not much going on here.
No, so as with all the areas, it's pretty much just the boss fight.
Mhm.
And this one is, not even a boss fight. It's more just, yeah, sadness.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you've kind of heard from either speaking to Selen or maybe Saint Urbain. So you maybe haven't heard, but um, yeah, the church come down here to kind of cleanse the fog or something, and
And
they
cleanse the
sent
place, cleanse the filth.
cleanse the filth. Yeah, and they sent Maiden Estrella with Garl Vinland the Knight to do
And
that.
other people as well.
And yes, lots of
Although,
others like the Moonlight Knight person, and I mean, there's
mhm.
lots of souls down here, so clearly lots of knights. Um, but only these two seem to have made it um to the end, but also not. Um, Because yeah, she's a demon now. Um,
He is, and of course, you Slayer of demons must slay the demon.
indeed. So you have to kill her. You can do it without killing Garl Vinland. Um, I have not yet achieved that because whilst he's an NPC, he's pretty tough, but he's parryable, so he's not that bad. He's got really cool armor though. But attempting to kill her whilst not killing him, because she can heal and do miracles and stuff, is tricky.
She can heal, she can do miracles. He's going to come for you if you try,
Yeah, exactly.
and you're going to be standing in the nasty, the bad, the
Yes, and it's
stinky.
there's like these baby creatures that fall down. No, that if you fall down will attack you, and they hit like trucks for their
I,
comparative
th-
size.
I think they plague you as well. Something
Yes,
plagues you
and I think
around
they
there.
plague you, and the stuff you're in. Yeah, the
Oh
plague
yeah, they're
babies.
called plague babies.
Yeah, there's also legendary hero soul down here, so but yeah, she basically takes the demon soul to try and
Help the people.
help the people that are here. Um, but yeah, yeah, and she kind of just speaks to you as you go, and you fight Garl, and yeah, he's got a massive like hammer thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got bramped,
He's got Bramp. Um,
brammed.
similar again, to
It's like the it's almost like the bell hammer thing that Veldstad used.
Velstadt uses. Yeah, I mean it's kind of similar to Grunt as well, that Paladin Leroy
Yeah,
has in Dark Souls.
yeah.
Again, two completely separate characters, not related at all. Um,
Increases
very very
poison and plague
different.
resistance again.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of my favorite armor sets. Uh, from the game. To be fair, it's very cool looking. But yeah, this is one of those bosses which just uh doesn't ever feel good.
No,
Um, which kind of makes this area worse again because it's just like, I mean, that boss is fine. That boss is fine. I don't really
you've
want to
suffered
kill
through
her.
this whole area. You've had not very rewarding bosses. You're like, finally, at least I'm going to be done with it, and you've got to be very sad to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And if you want more on her, watch Varty Vidya's video.
Mm.
It's a prepare to cry. So yeah, more tragic characters, but you kill them, and you will get things. Black Phantom Garvinland appears in the White World. Pure White World tendency is acquired. Only appears after you've killed Mage and Astray and collected her Pure Blood Demon Soul, and then he'll drop Brammed and the Vinland Crest. In Black World, there's nothing. And what you do get is you can loot the Dark Silver Shield, Dark Silver Helmet, and so on, all of his armor from Garl Vinland. And the Ring of Sincere Prayer, um, which uh, increases miracle power by 50% and prolongs miracle casting time by about 10%.
Trying to remember whether it was the Ring of Devout Prayer or the Ring of Sincere Prayer. I think it was the Ring of Sincere Prayer
Mm-hmm.
that, when casting a certain miracle, and I cannot remember which one it is, whilst wearing it, you actually do the Praise the Sun.
Yes, I think you're right. I don't remember which one it is either, but yeah, that's definitely a thing as well. So look out for that. Um, yeah, because the Ring of Devout
What does
Prayer provides one more miracle slot,
hmm,
and it does not say on the wiki which one it is. So
what do we get from the Pure Blood Demon Soul, Ollie?
the Pure Blood Demon Soul, can be used to ascend a broken sword into a blue blood sword. A
That's. I
blue
think
blood
I did that
sword.
in my first run through.
yeah, has damage bonus from the luck stat.
Mhm.
Though it the scaling drops off rather sharply and efficiently at 30 to 50. It also has scaling uh in magic and fate and strength, but less so. Um, Luck has a special non-additive scaling that synergizes with other stats, whereas the other scalings add with each the normal way. For example, strength to a certain amount can add X, and increasing magic will add Y. Increasing both will add Z, which is X plus blah 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 blah. But for strength and luck, Z would be greater than X plus Y. Okay, it's complicated, but luck is good with this one basically.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's got quite a lot of damage and magic damage, like physical and magic. Uh, and it's pretty durable. Um, and yeah, quite a
Uh,
cool sword.
Or you can use it for the spell from Sage Death Cloud, which
Indeed,
creates a cloud of plague.
yes.
Nasty, stinky, very bad.
The final evolution of the cloud spells.
You can go and visit Uri the Witch to get relief,
Mm-hmm.
which only works on allies, does not work on the caster. Removes full HP and removes any status ailments from an ally.
Yeah.
Or you can get Resurrection,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite a nice one to do,
Yeah.
where you kick out any blue phantoms in your world and make them human again, give them
Yeah.
body back.
It's pretty neat. So yeah, they're all quite different, but all quite powerful spells and miracles in their respective ways.
Mm,
Uh,
indeed.
and yeah, that is
That's about
the
it,
Valley
really.
of Defilement.
You get Garvillain's armor from just killing
Yep.
him, but then if you want to get Brent, you have to go back
In pure white.
in pure white and
Fight him again.
fight him again. Very weird that the Black Phantom appears in pure white.
Um, I imagine because it's to do with Celine's or Selen's quest line, isn't it? So,
Yeah, probably.
but yeah, yeah, it's a massive swamp. The enemies are mean. There's lots of ambushes. Uh, the bosses have some good things about them, but less so than most of the other bosses. Um, and then yeah, whilst I do like the final area, like aesthetically and the music of that and the setup, again, it's not a boss. So, most areas have at least um one like properly memorable boss. Um, like I'd say this has it with Maiden Estrella, but it's also not really a boss fight. So
Mm.
kind of yes, but no. Um, but yeah, I mean, it does indeed. For the Souls games, it's the first poison swamp place, and it will not
Yeah,
be
for
the
the Souls
last.
ones, yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to Elden Rings.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to an entire region of the map just being a massive poison swamp that's mandatory to go through.
I mean, what about your horse?
Yeah.
You have to have a poison-proof horse, otherwise that's just like mean. I guess your horse is kind of magic anyway, isn't it? So probably is
Yeah,
magic.
but it can die as well.
Oh, that's terrible.
You have to use one of your healing flasks to resurrect it.
Mm. I'm just never going to use my horse.
Really? It's a long way. It's a big old map.
Well, no, I know I won't.
Although I guess if we co-op a lot of it, we won't be able to when we go
We
around
will
to
see.
co-oping. We'll see.
Uh,
It depends what we get it on.
it does. It does. But yeah, that's irrelevant for now. Yeah, there's some cool stuff down here. Some of the coolest like armors and some really fun spells and weapons and stuff. To be fair. Um, but yeah, the area itself It's not great.
I mean, we shit on it a lot because it is suffering, but
Yes.
it's still quite well put together.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's it's like Dark Souls 2 for most people at least compared to Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. It's still good. It's just not quite on the level of everything else.
Mhm.
According to popular opinion anyway. I'm finding myself agreeing with that point of view less and less, but we'll talk about that more when we actually get to Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still great. Yeah, it's still some good design. All the encounters are still clever. They're just annoying clever. And yeah,
Yeah.
that is this area. So next time we will be going back at long last to 1-3.
Yeah, I don't think we've done 1-3 yet.
I was gonna say, I can't remember if we did 1-2 or just 1-1. I think we did 1-2.
I think we did 1-2.
And so would be on 1-3. But I guess we'll find out. But yes, no. We have enough Demon Souls now. And to be fair, we've had enough Demon Souls for a while, but the way we always do it is you do everything and then you go back.
Yeah.
For the doors to open.
We got the
you do
Archdemon
large-
Souls.
Yes, the Archdemon Souls. So now we can progress. So we'll do that. One more episode, probably. Maybe 2, but probably just 1. Not long to go.
Not long to go.
But until then, we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you, bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cabincast. For more episodes, go to www.cabincast.podbean.com or use the Podbean app. You can now also find us on iTunes and Pocket Casts under Cabincast and on YouTube. The uploads here are quite behind. Finally, you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Cabincast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.